Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive paradigm shift in how we actually think about management and team dynamics. We're exploring the insights of Mayank Trivedi and specifically focusing on this really dangerous trap that so many organizations fall into, over-engineering their workflows while completely ignoring their absolute most valuable asset. So if you're a working professional, a team leader, or a manager out there striving for continuous improvement, this explainer is built exactly for you. Let's rethink our approach to leadership. The framework we're digging into today comes straight from Mayank Trivedi's wildly popular Lead, Improve, Grow platform. We're going to break down his leadership lesson number 7. And what makes this platform so powerful is that it isn't just based on some abstract management theory. It is deeply rooted in Trivedi's real-world career experience in operations, leadership, and process transformation. He's literally been in the trenches, observing exactly what works and, maybe more importantly, what absolutely fails when organizations try to scale. And he's distilled all those insights into highly practical lessons for anyone looking to drive meaningful career growth and operational excellence.
So the crucial point we need to start with is what we might call the illusion of the perfect process. Just think about your own workplace or industry for a second. Organizations dedicate these massive amounts of time, budget, and mental energy to improving workflows and mitigating risk, right? Managers will spend weeks locked in boardrooms designing these flawless systems on whiteboards, just assuming that a perfect diagram automatically equals perfect results. But think about how often a company spends, millions of dollars rolling out a state-of-the-art software system or a super complex supply chain matrix, only to watch it completely crash and burn. Why? Because the folks on the front lines were frustrated, confused, and ultimately just bypassed the whole thing entirely.
Now, to be totally fair, this intense focus on process makes a ton of sense. Processes are undeniably essential. They bring 4 critical elements to the table: structure, consistency, efficiency, and control. Without those, any successful operation would just descend into pure chaos. If you're manufacturing a product, managing a complex supply chain, or delivering a high-stakes service, you absolutely need consistency and efficiency just to survive in the market, and controls to protect the business. So we're definitely not dismissing processes here. They are the tracks that keep the train moving forward. But tracks alone do not power the journey.
And that brings us to the critical pivot of our explainer today. On one side of the equation, you have processes, providing structure and control. On the other side, you have people, providing execution and effectiveness. Here is the harsh reality check Trivedi offers. Even the most perfectly designed, technologically advanced process is ultimately only going to be as effective as the people executing it. Think about it like building a house. A flawless million-dollar architectural blueprint means absolutely nothing if your construction crew is exhausted, unmotivated, and honestly doesn't know how to read it. If your team is burned out, disengaged, or poorly trained, your perfect corporate process is going to fail every single time. Which leads us directly to the foundational anchor of Mayank's 7th leadership lesson. Great leaders develop people, not just processes. Sustainable success in operations and business transformation is never, ever achieved by merely tweaking a workflow or upgrading a software system in a vacuum. It's achieved by intentionally and relentlessly investing in your people. It's about taking the real time and effort to develop capable, confident, and empowered professionals who can actually adapt when those rigidly designed processes inevitably hit real-world friction.
There's a remarkably powerful distinction we need to make here, and I really want you to let this sink in. Processes create efficiency, people create excellence. When leaders focus exclusively on processes, the absolute best they can ever hope to achieve is improved efficiency. Sure, you might successfully shave a few minutes off a task or reduce a daily error rate by a fraction of a percent, but when leaders shift their primary focus to their people, they do something far more profound. They improve potential. They unlock true excellence. Efficiency is simply doing things right, but excellence is having a team that knows exactly how to adapt, innovate, and do the right things even when the manual doesn't have the answer.
So how do we actually get there? Well, it requires moving way beyond the basics of traditional management. We so often confuse managing with leading. Great leaders, the ones who actually drive lasting operational excellence, they understand that their daily role has to extend far beyond administrative tasks. Ask yourself, are you spending your day just staring at a performance dashboard, tracking outputs, and assigning weekly deliverables? Or are you actually developing the human beings behind those metrics? While tracking tasks is definitely necessary, it's really just the baseline. If you're only monitoring output, you're functioning as a manager. If you're deeply focused on developing the humans executing those tasks, that's when you step into true leadership. Let's break down exactly what that looks like in practice, on a daily basis. Instead of just managing, highly effective leaders take practical, targeted action across 4 key behaviors. First, they coach. They provide real-time, constructive feedback right there on the floor to improve daily performance. Second, they mentor. They offer long-term career guidance and share the hard-won wisdom from their own operational experiences. Third, they actively create clear opportunities for learning, whether that's trusting a junior team member to run a critical meeting or advocating to fund a new professional certification. And fourth, they help individuals discover strengths they might not even see in themselves yet. They might look at an employee and say, "You know, you have a real talent for analytical problem solving. I want to put you in charge of untangling this complex operational bottleneck." That right there is how you intentionally build capacity.
And this leads us to the ultimate winning equation for basically any organization. When you combine these 2 critical elements, empowered, strong people who've been coached and mentored, operating within highly structured, logically designed, strong processes, that is the exact formula that makes extraordinary results possible. You do not have to choose between caring for your people and building good processes. You desperately need both. But you've got to recognize the hierarchy here. The strong process is merely the vehicle, the strong people are the engine. When you have top-tier talent utilizing top-tier workflows, your team's capability for continuous improvement becomes virtually limitless.
As we start to wrap up this explainer, there's a final, incredibly powerful realization from Mayank Trivedi's framework we need to consider. A leader's greatest legacy is not the process they build, it is the people they help grow. Really think about that. The complex workflows, the million-dollar software systems, and the strict standard operating procedures you meticulously build today, they will inevitably be outdated. In 5 or 10 years, as technology evolves, they'll be completely replaced. They are entirely temporary. But the people you mentor, the professionals you empower to think critically, they will carry those lessons forward for a lifetime. They'll become the next generation of leaders. A true leader's greatest and most lasting legacy is, without a doubt, the human potential they helped unlock.
To leave you with a provocative thought to reflect on today, what is the most valuable lesson a leader or mentor has taught you during your own career? Think back to that specific person who didn't just manage your tasks, but actually invested in your growth and saw your hidden potential. What did they do differently? I'd really encourage you to reflect on that, share your thoughts with your own colleagues, and consider how you can apply that exact same level of people-focused leadership in your daily professional life. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep focusing on how you can lead, improve, and grow.